the name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Wham! Kazam! First try. Why so serious?
He's a fast killer.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
I'm drinking.
I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
Hello, everybody. You are listening to the Good Day for a Movie podcast. Alongside me, as always, Tate, and our still yet to be revealed third co-host, I'm Jacob. How we doing, boys?
Doing good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. I mean, that's just what I expect from Glad to hear it. That means he's, like, doing the best that he's been for, like, 3 weeks.
Yeah. Just pretty good? Just pretty good.
Football is back. It's been a couple weeks since football has been back that you're hearing this, but this is being recorded on Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football of the year.
Yeah, the Broncos are playing the Titans right now.
Yeah, we're saying
at halftime, but
fuck you to the Broncos because don't really care about it. So let's watch a movie because, you know.
It was kind of a boring game anyways. It's a lot of defense.
Yeah.
It's a good day for a movie.
It's a good day for a movie.
And I really wanted to watch a movie. Maybe that's why I'm just pretty good.
Too.
Maybe I'll feel better after the movie.
I would also want to watch a movie if it was my pick.
Yeah,
that is true.
Would
it is
be
my
pushing
pick.
for it
I was
if it
pretty
my
stoked.
Pick. You know, should we just watch football? Should we just stop this right now and just watch football?
No, okay, sorry. You guys will never hear this because we're just going to go watch football.
We're not going to let him pick.
Don't do that.
Tate's turn next.
Don't do that. No.
All right, getting into it.
All right. Let's hop right into it.
I deliberated a lot. And my movie I was going to watch last night because I wanted to watch it so badly, and I did not.
Okay.
Because I was waiting for my pick. That's how excited I am.
Wow. So you're waiting to watch it with us.
We are going to watch The Guard. It is featuring, I'm pretty sure it's Don Cheadle. Yeah, Don Cheadle and Brendan Gleeson.
2011?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, tell us a little bit about it.
I'm so glad you didn't say The Old Guard, the new Netflix, like, kind of superhero middle, like, really old people movie, because that movie was really bad with Charlize Theron.
Nope.
This sounds better.
Never heard of that. So my intrigue by it, we watched Rush Hour, and
great movie.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if there are other movies like Rush Hour, and so I looked up movies like Rush Hour, and then this came up at the top of the list, and it has very good
mystery,
good ratings.
Thriller, comedy, crime.
It has a 7.3 on IMDb, 94 on Rotten Tomatoes, and 78 on Metacritic.
John Michael McDonagh?
As a director?
McDonagh?
I have no idea who
McDonagh.
I guess he's
McDonagh.
He wrote the screenplay.
McDonagh. Man, what is wrong with you Irish people?
McDonagh? That's a weird last name, McDonagh.
Very weird last name.
I am low-key stoked because I do like Brendan Gleeson. I loved in Bruges.
Don Cheadle's great, too.
Never seen In Bruges, but I'm sure I have seen something that Brendan Gleeson has been in because I know the name and I know the face, and it looks like a guy that I like.
Looks like it is not streaming anywhere except for Sun Next and Eros Now, but we can rent it on Amazon,
which is
for $3.99.
What I was expecting we were gonna do.
All right,
folks. Well,
let's get into it.
We will be back right after this quick break. So we'll see you on the other side.
Sergeant Jerry Boyle, cop shop.
Oh, was it a sheep or something? It was a lamb.
I mean, what would its parents think?
I've got some information about that murder last night.
What murder?
How many murders have you had in the last 24 hours?
Well, that's for us to know and you to find out. Only wish I brought me handcuffs.
I don't think your mammy'd be too pleased about that now.
You're to head in to attend a briefing from a fella who's over from the F.B.I.
Now, these men are highly dangerous. In the vicinity of $500 million worth of cocaine on board.
Yes, Sergeant.
I thought only black lads were drug dealers and Mexicans.
Apologize to the man.
Apologize for what?
For your racist slurs, for one thing.
I'm Irish, sir. Racism is part of my culture. I'm only having a bit of fun, like. Don't mean nothing by it.
So I thought we might start by canvassing the neighborhood.
Chilly out, huh? Sorry, you lost me at we.
And I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
It was a Gaelic-speaking region. Did they not teach you that at Langley?
How you doing, sir? Sir, Langley's the CIA, you idiot, not the FBI. No, I can't tell if you're really dumb or really smart.
You all right?
A milkshake headache.
Look at it, they're here.
Have you ever been shot before?
Yeah.
Does it hurt? Did you grow up in the projects?
No, I did not grow up in the projects. I actually come from a very privileged background. Some in the Hamptons, skiing in Aspen.
Thought black people couldn't ski. Or is that swimming?
All right, folks, we are back in a certain sense of the way. Full transparency here.
Full disclosure.
So, The Guard is the second movie we watched for this podcast, but it is about the 10th one that we are reviewing. We recorded a review, and it was one of the worst things the three of us have ever heard.
This is our second take.
Yeah, so this is going to be the second take, and we're not going to reference anything that we talked about before. We are going to make it sound a lot better. That's for one thing. Overall, thoughts of the movie from me. I enjoyed this movie. I didn't hate this movie. And I've had a lot of time to think about this, obviously.
Plenty of time.
And my score has gone up over time thinking about it.
Ooh.
As much as I don't want to admit, because this is our mysterious co-host's pick, as you just heard.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the movie has definitely gone up for me. I think the one-liners are definitely like throughout the movie, and just kind of the quick comedy bits that kind of remind me a lot of like the Letterkenny show.
Yeah.
It's what sticks out. And I still
quick
think,
jabs and stuff.
And I will say though, I don't think it's better than any of those quick jabs are as a whole.
I think I agree though. I liked the comedy style. From what I remember of it, it was very like all the dialogue and all the conversations that everyone had with each other were very quick, very witty, and very funny.
Yeah. I like I said, the one-liners, I really enjoyed them, and I think they've kind of grown on me over time. Just the entire opening scene, if you watch the movie along with us, I guess the second scene, post the first murder happening, was very, like I just said, Letterkenny-esque, where it was quick, it was witty, they were acting off each other very well, which will kind of go into one of my biggest criticisms of this movie, is that Brendan Gleeson didn't have a straight man to act off of. He did in that opening scene because he had the young cop with him. That's a good person who is taking this job very seriously, where Brendan Gleeson character, it's not that he doesn't take his job seriously, it's that he goes about it in a different way and in a comedic way. But throughout the movie, he doesn't interact with Don Cheadle's character, Wendell, very often. And I think if we would have had more Don Cheadle in this movie, I would have enjoyed this movie far more.
Yeah, so I guess going off of what you're just saying, I think I really like this movie because, to me, it wasn't a comedy necessarily. I don't think I would ever say that. I wouldn't throw this under a comedy genre, but it definitely had a lot of comedic elements that I really liked. But I actually really enjoyed that it was kind of what Brandon Gleeson's character just on his own pretty much the entire time. He's kind of the main character. Everyone else is just kind of supporting characters, because going into this and watching the trailer, it definitely gave off the idea that him and Don Cheadle were going to be like partners in crime and solving this mystery murder together and working side by side, very Rush Hour-esque. But in actuality, it was just pretty much him solving the whole thing. Don Cheadle was trying to help him and trying to figure out ways to kind of get in the mix. But for the most part, it was just Brandon Gleeson. I think I really liked that part because it seemed almost like a solo movie all about him. And I thought he killed it.
Yeah, and he was just so wild and hilarious.
He was wild.
He surprised you pretty much every 10 minutes.
He was awesome.
Yeah. And I agree with Tate because it is refreshing. Rush Hour, Shanghai Nights, and Nice Guys, they've never known each other. They get into this situation. They're buddies for life and partners in crime for life. Whereas this one, it's almost like
they're not buddies that much.
Yeah.
Well, in the very end, they kind of get that.
And they may like talk to each other once in a while for the rest of their lives, but they're not, like Wendell isn't moving to Western Ireland anytime soon. So it is like hey, this is this one case with these two dudes that are pretty awesome at their jobs, and they kill it. And then they go their separate ways, which is cool. That you don't
and
see
they
that
kind of like
often.
stayed their separate ways. I mean, up until even that last scene, like Don Cheadle wasn't even supposed to be there. Like Brandon Gleeson was ready to go in to that last like scene on the boat where they were moving was it drugs?
Yeah.
He was ready to go at that on his own. And so Don Cheadle was like, no, that's suicide. So I liked that, the vibe of that. It was just kind of him on his own doing it. And because it seems like his character, that's just how he lived his whole life. Everyone kind of thought he was a weirdo. Everyone kind of like wrote him off, but he just knew who he was and stuck to his guns. And
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought overall it was entertaining. The characters were good. The writing was good. It was funny. It was very funny.
The two, and that's the thing is I feel like there weren't a ton of characters in this movie. There was obviously a couple of the cops. There was Gleason, Don Cheadle, the other cop who died, the three bad guys, and then other than that, it was like the kid with the bike.
Yeah, just random supporting characters.
Yeah.
And two of those three bad guys played by pretty awesome actors. Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones, Davos.
Yeah, Davos.
And Charlie Strong, or I'm sorry, not Charlie Strong, Mark Strong. Charlie Strong's the old Texas head coach, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who Charlie Strong is. He's somebody.
Yeah.
It's Mark Strong.
They were funny too.
Yeah, very funny. From the Kingsman movies, I knew that Mark Strong was a good kind of. It's not that he's a straight man, but he has a good comedic timing, where as a bad guy it plays, and as a good guy it plays.
Well, and I loved those three as bad guys because I remember in our first draft we talked about it, but that they are kind of not what you would expect as far as bad guys go. Like they're very philosophical. They think about the big picture of everything. They have very like sophisticated adult conversations. And then there's Brandon Gleeson, who's the cop who's saving the day, and he's out like with these hookers and like drinking beer on the job and like. So we talked about it earlier, but their dynamic is awesome.
Well, and I've been thinking about that a lot more, and it goes deeper than that.
Ooh,
because the cops, just in general, are all paid off and are totally supporting the criminals.
Yep. They're very corrupt.
Very corrupt. The kid,
except for Gleason,
the kid who like typically kids are just innocent kids. He's just like totally in on the mix, like finding a bag of guns, like asking the FBI what he's up. He's just not innocent. And I think the underlying theme for this movie was, and I said in our rough draft that the characters were intricate, and you guys were saying, no, it's simple, all this. And they are simple, but they're all like contradictory characters. Like
they're all purposefully there. The characters individually might not be delved out and in-depth characters, but there's a reason that each character is there.
They give you a little bit of information about each of the characters, and what they do give you is very contradictory.
And they have their own personal contradictions. There's this face value that you see and this underlying person that you don't like. The cop that sports Brendan Gleeson seems like this picture-perfect cop with a gorgeous wife and like a good home. He's really in the closet.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saving he brought the Romanian girl.
His wife.
Yeah, his wife, who he was basically like saving a refugee or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like the face value, you see this normal homestead. Not at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the other one that I thought was funny, which was kind of people like the kid and people kept asking why Donald Gleason, I just mixed their name.
My God.
Don Cheadle's character, like, oh, you're from the FBI. Are you here for like serial killer, like neurology thing? He's like, no, I'm here for drugs. And the kid's like, oh, boring. Like, it's funny how it's contradictory. Like, everyone thinks the FBI does all this cool stuff when it's just, and he's like, oh, drugs again. Like, it's just kind of drugs. It's just drugs. So boring. And yeah, how you were saying how the criminals are philosophical and well read, and
yeah,
Brendan Gleeson, like, does an 8-time contradiction. Like, it's so confusing. Like, he's a cop that doesn't care, that cares, that orders hookers but doesn't get paid off by the bad guys, that is pretty not in shape but was an Olympic swimmer. Just, who is this person?
Let's get into his character a little bit.
Another point for this movie, and this is going to give it the classic Jacob 5-point politically incorrect bump. I liked that this movie didn't pull any punches, and kind of 2011, we were at the beginning of this politically correct climate.
Yep.
And so it's not like this movie has the excuse of, oh, well, this was made back in the 90s or the 80s, where if you listen to a lot of the dialogue, you might think that. And so I really did enjoy how they didn't pull any punches with that. And I liked how Brendan Gleeson's character, I don't think he was racist. I think the whole purpose of him kind of saying all these racial slurs to Don Cheadle's character and making all these like kind of stereotypes about the swimming or is it skiing or is it swimming, and then the part where
all those
Don
comments
Cheadle's
that like
briefing them.
Those are like triggers for some people. Like if they hear that kind of stuff, they'd be like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah, and like I think the point of that was to show us that, or well, maybe it wasn't the point of to show us, but I think the reason Brendan Gleeson's character, like in movie universe, reason for it was I think he was trying to test out Don Cheadle's character and pretty much see where the line was with this character, because I don't think that he was racist, because he never did anything besides say offensive words to the character. He never had any like racist judgments on him besides those which delivered very dryly were still jokes.
Yeah. And I agree that because I don't think like his character was a racist. And I think the comments that he said in the movie were definitely like racist comments. But for me, it was all based on the intention behind it. And if somebody says that with the intention of being racist, it's like, yeah, obviously. But for me, when he says it, it wasn't as much, I think, to try and get under his skin or anything else. I think for me, it was just to try and, or I think it's because he's kind of like, to me, almost very kid-like, or almost where like just innocence, like absolutely, like
almost like a sheltered Ireland isn't quite known for its diversity.
Yeah, I think because like there's no argument that there were racial slurs. I mean, they point blank addressed it in that room. Don Cheadle just straight up says it, and then he says it's part of my culture. I think it was part because the director was the writer. I'm pretty sure. You might want to double check that quick, just in case I'm wrong.
The verdict is correct.
I think the director and writer wrote all that intentionally to reflect, like Jacob said, this lack of diversity and kind of general ignorance in Western Ireland culture. Because, I mean, in reality, that's a very low populated area that I've been to and is very Irish. No diversity. And I think it's not a comment on Brendan Gleeson's character, but more of a reflection
on the culture as a whole.
What it's like in Western Ireland in particular, and maybe the rest of Ireland. I don't really know, but you see the trace of it with Wendell when he goes canvassing and he runs into that Gaelic couple. And in Gaelic, they say a couple racial slurs at him. And he doesn't know that they're saying it, but like we know. And so I think it is more of the writer and directors.
Because subtitles are awesome.
It was in another language. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this whole movie was in another language. It was in Irish.
It was
This is an
very hard
argument
to
that we got in
understand.
during the movie. We probably got just after that second scene, and I went, I'm missing like every fifth word. Can we please turn the subtitles on? And oh man,
I never really realized how like thick Irish, like true Irish.
I've never
accents
seen
can be,
Peaky Blinders, but from people that have watched it, they're like, oh yeah, that's a show that you have to turn subtitles on, or else you just aren't going to pick up anything.
There was a lot of it that was hard to pick up. I'm going to be honest.
And so we turned them on for all of 30 seconds, and then I just hear this groan from his side of the room. And I paused the movie, and I'm like, what? He's like, all I'm doing is reading. And I'm like, well, do both. You have two eyes.
The other thing that I want to get into, other than, so I think his character is a character that I love and everything about him. But the other thing that I wanted to get into real quickly too is the ending, about what you guys thought of the ending. Because I know that it kind of leaves you with this open end of what happened in the end, and like what it leaves up for the viewer to interpret and kind of say, like, continue the story in their head. Did you guys like the ending?
No, I thought the ending was stupid because it was supposed to be this open-ended ending where obviously it wasn't. They left all of the clues earlier in the movie
they left
to
some
show
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like they left all of these breadcrumbs to show that Brendan Gleeson's character obviously survived and got off the boat and swam to shore. They laid the ground and said that he was an Olympic swimmer. He was swimming earlier in the movie in the ocean.
We don't know if he's yeah. I'm just saying. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
He was swimming in the ocetion, and
we saw him swim up to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? You think he was just laying in the water waiting for...
Who knows? He could have been...
You are a crazy person.
That is just outrageous.
Yes, I mean, you're just a crazy person.
All right, hear me out. Remember in that one scene where he was just like, I can't tell if you're smart or dumb? Like, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, I think for the most part, yes, you're probably right, that he dove off the boat and he swam away and he's chilling somewhere luxurious. But what I think is that they leave all these breadcrumbs and they tell you about his past to make you think that. But I also think that it could be that Brendan Gleeson, when he swims up to the beach, he could be just, to me, his character is kind of like he just wants to fuck with you and joke with you. And so I don't know. I'm not going to say.
So now you're on my side about the whole the racism argument.
Well,
yeah. Hook, line, and sinker, baby. You can't have this one.
I think he's a jokester. He's a jokester for sure.
Yes, that's what I've been saying. Okay, so here's a far better ending. And I'm not saying that he swam off and swam to frickin' Jamaica. I'm saying that he just swam to the shoreline, is just like, all right, I'm retired. I'm going to go live my life and not be a cop anymore. I'm already an old man, and I'm just going to go live out and be happy. And if we would have seen that.
Probably did.
Or if we would have seen him, maybe just somehow show up back in Don Cheadle's character's car right at the end, like when Don Cheadle gets in the car, that would have been a surprise.
But see, that would have been definite.
Yeah.
And nothing that they gave you was definite.
No, but here's the thing. It is definite. It's definite, but then they're trying for it not to be definite.
Exactly. They don't show you what happens to him.
No, an actual... Yeah, but you can infer it as an audience because we're not stupid.
You can make... But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
As stupid as we may sound,
they
we're not.
Leave it up for you to decide. So if he would have showed up in a car, then I couldn't argue it. I'd be like...
but I mean, there's just nothing...
Then he survived and he was in the car.
Argue. That is an
argument. Yeah, he was on a burning boat.
And we watched him walk out of the bottom of the boat, and it was
from the inside of the boat. You can see it, but they don't show it from the outside. They show it from Don Cheadle's perspective.
Yes, and you watch him walk up the stairs, unless just randomly maybe a piece of wood hit him in the head.
No, I think the last scene was that he was in the bottom of the boat with the guy when it was on fire, and you see him leave from the inside of the boat, and then it just shows Don Cheadle's character, and it just shows the boat burning, and then that was it. So you assume that he went and dove off the side of the other side that Don Cheadle couldn't see, but who knows?
There is a metaphor for the ending. Do you know that event in the Winter Olympics where they get on the sled and they go down the chute?
Toboggan.
The ending was like a toboggan. No matter how many turns, no matter what happened to that person, they're going to end up at the bottom of the toboggan. This story...
Well, no, you are.
The plot was going one
I
direction.
see where you're going with this.
The toboggan analogy.
But the toboggan is the thing that they ride down the hill. At the end of the toboggan race, no matter what, every team is going to end up at the bottom of the hill. That's what you're going for.
The plot was going to end up, Brendan Gleeson was alive, and I think he was probably going to go talk to that Romanian girl.
Oh.
That was it.
I like.
All they did was the second he takes off to start the toboggan race, they cut the movie. They just pulled the plug.
This toboggan analogy, I kind of like.
It's like we're 5 seconds away from the finish, and NBC just cuts their Olympics feed.
Okay, but
they're like, oh, there we go. And you're like, oh, man,
it's
they
like there's a
didn't finish the
1%
race.
chance they could have flown off the side of the toboggan
You know what?
in a massive tragedy. But guess what? It's a 1% chance, and it wasn't going to happen. If it did happen,
And then there's also like
it would
a
be absurd.
0.5% chance that their every team's toboggans just stopped right before the finish line.
Yeah.
I was convinced when we finished the movie. I was like, oh, he dove in the ocean, he swam away. But now I feel like I just need to believe the other way, just to prove a point.
Absurd.
There,
I have another
So
point
wait.
that's actually
Oh, yeah,
more
okay.
important than this to get us off of this ridiculous conversation.
You're a ridiculous conversation.
Toboggan.
When you said breadcrumbs to start this off, that reminded me of something that
Hansel
I thought
and Gretel.
about. No.
The bread that you just made?
Ooh, it was good. No, throughout the movie, there was always something that was referenced, always came up twice. So, hear me out. For example, the whole gun part, where the kid finds the guns, he takes the bags of guns to that guy. I didn't realize until I thought about it later. At the end of that conversation, the guy says, "Hey, do you know where these 2 guns went? They're missing." It was a small pistol and a automatic rifle. Small pistol was the one that he pulled out of his crotch, and the automatic rifle was the one that he took up to the boat. But there are other parts where, like in the movie, there was earlier when they said she was Ukrainian, the Romanian woman, and then a different character said it later in the movie, like 50 minutes later. He said, "Oh yeah, she's Ukrainian, but she's Romanian." So like there are the no joke or kind of little jab in the movie, the Letterkenny jabs, or really even kind of just breadcrumbs.
Holes in the plot.
There were no.
No. It's the opposite.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. There were no holes in the plot.
Oh,
Everything was kind
no,
of
yeah, there were no.
There were holes
no,
in the
no,
plot.
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
what?
Like they tied all the loose ends.
Yeah, but like with the most minute things too. Like it was so silly.
It's good writing.
It is good writing.
All right. Do we have any other final thoughts about the film?
Yeah, there's like one last thing, and this is kind of ticky-tacky, but I just didn't necessarily enjoy how this film was kind of edited and put together. I didn't really like when I say something like this, I mean I didn't like certain aspects of it. There were some points where it worked, where it was like the jump cuts were good, but then there were some other points where like Liam Cunningham's character, when he's first talking on the phone to Brendan Gleeson's character, Liam Cunningham's character was just kind of walking in and out of frame. And maybe I'm just not big brain enough to figure out why that was, but that rubbed me the wrong way. And then when Brendan Gleeson's character is talking to his mom and asks what book he's reading, it like flashes to just a picture of the book for like 3 seconds. Yeah. And it's fine, whatever, but like it just didn't match with the rest of the movie. There's some movies
it was totally random.
Yeah. There's some movies where that type of stuff happens all the time. I can't think of examples off the top of my head because, like I said, not the biggest brain, not a small brain.
Pretty much anything Wes Anderson.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like that was a very Wes Anderson type of cut.
It was like an Irish Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
What was that?
Oh my God.
That was Irish.
You are not deleting that.
I have full editing control.
Nope.
All right. Do we want to get into some scores?
Well, I was just going to touch on
yeah.
that. I agree with him on the editing, but I think there are more times that I didn't like it, but sometimes that was just awesome. And I think the time that it was so epic was the opening scene with the car crash. I think the way they shot that was so sweet.
An awesome opening
Yes.
scene. So random.
Yeah.
Just the car crashing violently, and all these kids are like just dead, and Gleason just walks up finds the drugs in his pocket and just says,
Just does some Molly.
Mom's not going to be happy about that
Yeah,
one.
what would his mother think?
Yeah. And then takes the drugs and then walks off. That was a great, I guess, beginning to his character and them getting into it. But
all right, let's move into some scores here. The aggregators first. Rotten Tomatoes, 94%.
But boo Rotten Tomatoes. No one likes Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
Yeah. Get Rotten Tomatoes out of here. But I am surprised by 94%.
IMDb, 7.3 out of 10.
Okay.
Metacritic, 78 out of 100. I will say my score first. I've already included the 5-point politically incorrect bump.
5-point not PC bump.
Yep.
Everybody knows about.
Yep. Everybody knows about that one. It's the classic Jacob move. So this one is I'm going to give it a 71 out of 100.
All right.
Tate?
All right. So right when we finished, I wasn't really sure what I was going to give it. And I think talking through it bumped it up a little bit. But I'm going to stick with a solid 80. I liked it. I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think the only reasons I knock it is the ending. I think it was silly not to tie up the ending. There are movies where you leave it like that, like Inception, where you just really have no idea where it's going to go. But this one, come on, we knew where it was going to go. And the characters were just awesome. I loved Brendan Gleeson's character, one of my new heroes. Maybe literally, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to figure that out as I move on in life.
Literally.
But, yeah, just character structure was just brilliant. So I give it an 8.3 out of 10.
That would translate to an 83 out of 100. And that will be an average score of 78. So not bad.
All right. Better than Jacob's pick. So that's a win.
A few points higher than Get On Up, but that's all right. That's all right.
You'll
We're
come
still
back
getting
at it
our
next
feet on underneath us. I've got a few movies lined up that are going to be awesome. Just wait. Just wait. All right, folks, that is going to do it for today. If you have thoughts or questions, you can shoot us an email at gd4ampodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at gd4, that's the number 4, gd.movies. Again, gd4gd.movies on Instagram. We're also on Twitter at gd4gd_movies. Also, we would love for you to leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen on, especially Apple Podcasts. Just make sure they're all 5-star reviews on there. Apple Podcasts is the one that's going to get us up the charts. It's going to be kind of what matters in this industry. Make sure if you have something negative to say, you can leave it in the review as long as there's 5 stars. Or you can just shoot us an email with it, and we'll get it figured out that way.
And we'll come find you.
We didn't just review Taken, but good reference. All right, and we will catch you next week at the movies.
When you come to the end of the line with a buddy who is more than a brother and a little less than a wife, getting blind drunk together is really the only way to say farewell.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.